Do you know which lies deceive people? The lies that are closest to the truth. When you make a lie as close to the truth as possible, that's when the lie becomes dangerous. By the way, what comes first? The genuine and then the counterfeit? Or the counterfeit and then the genuine? In time, what comes first? What comes first is the genuine, and then you have what? The counterfeit. Allow me to give you an illustration. How many of you have ever seen a counterfeit $6 bill? Yeah. You haven't seen a counterfeit $6 bill? No? Neither have I. Let me ask you, why isn't there a counterfeit $6 bill? Because there is not a genuine $6 bill before. In order to falsify something, that something has to exist first. So the genuine comes first, and then afterwards comes the counterfeit. And listen up, everything that God has genuine, Satan has a counterfeit. Now let me ask you, how can you distinguish a counterfeit from the genuine? The only way is knowing what? Knowing the genuine will help you detect the counterfeit. So 3 ideas. The greatest counterfeits are those who appear closest to the truth. Number 2, the genuine comes first, and then afterwards comes the counterfeit. Correct? Are you all agreed with me? And number 3 is what? How do you detect a counterfeit? By knowing what? By knowing the genuine. Very good. Let me give you an illustration. For 6 years of my life, I had the privilege of teaching in a university in the city of Medellin, Colombia. I love that place. We visit there every year or so. My wife has relatives who live down in Medellin. But I taught there for 6 years. One day, I went downtown to a store, department store, kind of like Walmart. Let's give Kmart some credit too. Okay, kind of like Kmart. And when I went to the cash register, I took out a 5,000 peso bill, and I paid with the 5,000 peso bill. Immediately, the girl at the cash register took the bill and she looked at it in the light. She crumpled it in her hand, and she had a little, black light there, and she put it underneath. And she gave a signal to a couple of police officers, and she said, "Come over here. This man has given me a counterfeit 5,000 peso bill." Now, you need to understand that down there, you're guilty until proven innocent. It's a totally different thing than it is here in the United States. And so they took me to a back room in that store, and they started interrogating me. They said, "Where did you get this 5,000 peso bill?" I said, "I have no idea. I didn't check it out. I just had it in my pocket. I paid." They said, "Where do you have the machinery?" I said, "I don't have any machinery." And so one of them says to me, "Where do you live? What do you do for a living?" I said, "Well, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist pastor, and I teach at our university here." He said, "Oh, really? Wow, that's a good university. I know lots of people from there. Those are good people." Boy, I was feeling a lot better now, knowing that this police officer had a positive opinion of our school. And so he says to me, "Look, let's go to the cash register, and I'm going to show you something which is going to keep you from going through this experience again." So I went to the cash register with the counterfeit bill, and he asked the cashier for a genuine 5,000 peso bill. And he showed me the counterfeit. He said, look at the counterfeit in the light. You see, there's no brown line running through it. Then he put the genuine up in the light, and it had a brown line. He said, sure enough, I said, isn't that interesting? So then he took the counterfeit, a 5,000 peso bill, and he crumpled it up in his hand, and it stayed crumpled. He took the genuine 5,000 peso bill, and he crumpled it in his hand, and it started opening kind of like a flower. It's a different kind of paper. And then he said, he put it up in the light again, and he says, look at the face of Simon Bolivar, which is the equivalent of George Washington. You see that it's nice and clear? His face is nice and clear on the genuine bill? I said, yeah, it looks pretty clear. So then he put up the counterfeit one, and he says, do you see that the face is not very clear at all? I said, sure, I noticed that. I can see now. And then he took the counterfeit bill, and he put it under the black light, and nothing happened. And he put the genuine bill underneath, and the two circles on the bill shone in a deep purple. So I said, oh, now I know how to distinguish a counterfeit 5,000 peso bill from a genuine 5,000 peso bill. Let me ask you, how could I now detect a counterfeit? Because I knew the characteristics of the what? Of the genuine. You cannot detect a lie unless you know the truth. Especially when the truth and a lie are very, very close together. And so when I went to pay at a store, after that, I would take out a 10,000 peso bill, and I would pay. The cashier would take it, and she would look at it in the light, and she would check it all out. And then when she gave me the change, I would take the bill, and I would look at the bill in the light. And one day, one of the cashiers says to me, what's the matter? Don't you trust me? And I said, I trust you as much as you trust me. I wasn't about to be deceived again, because I knew from the genuine bill how to detect a counterfeit. By the way, there could not be a counterfeit 5,000 peso bill unless there was a genuine before. Is that correct? And the genius of the counterfeiters is to make the counterfeit as close as possible to the genuine. So when Eve says that the devil or the serpent beguiled her or deceived her, he deceived her because he made the counterfeit appear very, very close to the genuine.